Hey guys, my name is Jessie and I'm gonna draw my life. First we have my dad. He was a ballet dancer. And my mom, she was an artist. She liked to paint and do ceramics and all sorts of things, which is really cool. But my dad was married before my mom and had my brother Josh and had adopted my brother Joey. He's a ginger. And then came me! I was born 2 months early, which was pretty scary for my parents because I weighed 3 pounds 7 ounces and my head was smaller than my dad's 1970s mustache. My mom liked to try to teach me things like how to paint and do pottery and draw, and she thought I was really good, but I didn't see it, and I found it kind of frustrating more than anything. Ah! Now, though, I really like to draw, and I'm glad my mom taught me her skills. I draw things like funny jellyfish, and I really, really love to draw trees. I don't know why, but trees are cool. So thanks, Mom. I love you more. Oh, every summer, my family and I would drive all the way from Alabama to upstate New York to Lake George for my dad's family reunion. My grandmother and I would sit in the back seat, and I would sing my heart out. And she would clap or tell me, I know you can do better than that. Try again. These are some of the greatest memories I have of my grandmother. I called her Goonie, and because of her and my parents, I got into theater. It was really good for me because I was really shy most of the time. But on stage, I was happy. And for my first role ever, I played a donkey. Most kids would have been embarrassed, but I worked that stage. After that, I grew up singing and acting, and singing and acting, and singing and acting until it was time for college. I definitely wasn't ready for college. I felt like I was all alone in the world, and I got really shy all over again. I was so scared. I didn't think I'd ever get cast in a show, and I didn't have any friends, so I sat in my dorm room all day long. I got some stuff done, though. I watched every episode of Friends, and I taught myself how to play guitar, which ended up being really important for me. There was one girl I kind of knew named Jacqueline, and so I started asking her if she wanted to hang out, but she was really sketchy and never answered. I basically had to threaten her to hang out with me before she said, okay. And she invited me to her dorm's cafeteria where we made homemade waffles, and I sat with her friends, and we got to know each other. And I guess after that, we were pretty much inseparable. She's pretty much the best friend anyone could have. Then I got cast in the lead role in a show, and I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. But then I got cast and cast and cast some more. But I started getting sad because it was never in any musicals, and I don't know, I really wanted to sing. Why wouldn't they let me sing? I tried not to think about it too much because I was in college and wanted to have fun. And so my senior year, Jacqueline and I moved in with 2 girls named Sarah, and we moved into this big, ugly pink house, and all of our friends came over every night, and we got really, really wasted and danced to music and fun songs and climbed on the roof and stuff. And it would have been one of the greatest moments of my life if what I'm about to tell you hadn't happened. The cast list went up, and I didn't get cast my senior year. And it was really embarrassing, but I tried to stay positive. And that proved to be pretty hard because then the dogs I grew up with died. Holly and Andy. And then the worst thing in the world happened. My grandmother passed away. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't think. All I could do was cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. The only place that could make me feel better when I was that sad was Lake George. And that's the place that I used to travel to growing up with my family. Every summer I ended up being a camp counselor up there at this YMCA, and they were the greatest summers of my life. I met all these amazing people who were different from me, but we loved each other. And I met met this boy, and he liked me, and I thought that was pretty cool because he had a boat and he thought I sang really nice, and he played the drums and I played the guitar, and we seemed to be a perfect match, but I don't know. I was never really sure, and he loved me. I always wanted to hang out with my friend Carly, and if I was hanging out with him, I always felt like I was, I don't know, FOMOing, that fear of missing out. Anyway, Jacqueline and I moved to the big city, and I should have been really happy, but I was still sad, and I don't know, I was scared. I was so scared of having to meet new people and confused about why I didn't like this boy, and I felt like I was really mediocre at everything I had ever tried, and I was just really lost. So after a year of feeling these really heavy emotions, I decided to leave the big city and really just try to figure out who I was. So I moved to Atlanta, where I didn't know anyone, but I had plenty of time to think of all the big questions like, who am I and what the hell am I doing? And every single day I pretty much wanted to scream. Ah! I missed all my friends like crazy, and so I started texting them to keep in touch, and I started texting Carly, and I really liked that. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, I think I like her more than a friend. Then I did something that only someone as vulnerable and confused as I was could do. I told my seemingly straight friend I liked her. Time stood still, but the next day I got a text that said something like, "Hey, I like you too," and I was the happiest I'd ever felt in my life. Whoa, it was amazing. After that, things started going really fast. Carly broke up with her boyfriend and moved to Atlanta for the summer with me, and we did fun things like go to the Coca-Cola Museum and out to dinner and to their giant awesome aquarium, and it was amazing until she had to leave to go back to school, and I was so sad because I knew I loved her. That meant it was time to tell my parents, so I decided to write an email because I was scared, okay? My dad said he'd love me no matter what. Whoops, no mustache anymore. And my mom, well, I couldn't really tell how she felt, but we had a really long, intense conversation that lasted until 4 in the morning. She needed time to get used to it, but I didn't have that kind of time. I had to do what was right for me, so I packed up my car and I said, "See you later," and I moved to Indiana to be with Carly. My once sad mom is now really happy, and it's great. And this Christmas, Carly and I went down to Alabama to spend some time with the family, and it was amazing because my cousin was like, "Hey girl, why don't you come over? We're having a party." And when I got there, all my cousins were there and family members, and everybody was taking these really weird green shots, and my cousin was like, "Girl, haven't you ever heard of pickleback shots?" And I was like, "No, but they're awesome." And that night I realized that my family loved me no matter who I was, and I finally knew who I was. And Carly and I have been together for 2 years now, and we have a really sweet cat named Zoe, and we have jobs, which is really great. We work with children with autism, and it's really wonderful. And 2 days ago, we got a puppy named Olive, and everything's really looking up. Even though I'm not sure where I'm going, I'm glad I've got Carly, and life's not so bad.